All right, interactive performance reporting. So this is where a reporting where you can interact with the transit system to create reports for routes, for patterns, for segments, for stops, or even create a regional analysis. And you can report out on selected features, right? So not only does it report out on all these different transit features, but also whatever you might select using the T-Best selection tools. So it's accessible from the main reports menu via right-click context menus. So generally under reports, you can get to these array of interactive reporting options. But generally, whenever you right-click on a route or a group of routes, you can get to performance reporting or stops or segments, same thing. Okay. All right, so this example is interactive reporting, and basically you can summarize, we mentioned stop segments, patterns, routes, and regionals. The time periods can also be selected, but this is not an annualized report. It's just the time periods, the 6 T-Best time periods plus weekday aggregation. The ridership type can be estimated or observed. So again, this requires your APC import. If you're going to do observed ridership, it uses the stop level APC data. So if you haven't brought that APC data into your network, then this option won't be available, and it will just do the estimated ridership that T-Best estimates. There's also the map rendering. So I mentioned the map rendering part of this, where you can render total boardings, transfer boardings, direct boardings, and then ridership as segment bandwidth. So you can do it at the stop level and rendering, or at the segment level. And you can summarize by as well. So you can summarize by the selected stops only, all stops. You can group by route pattern or direction, route name, or stop name. So one of the nice things about that is if you group by stop name, this will create a report for all your unique stops, right? So it doesn't, remember how T-Best has a stop for every pattern. We'll aggregate all of those patterns together by stop name at the same location, and then you'll have your ridership by stop name instead of distributed along for every pattern. So this is kind of a handy reporting tool as well, and that applies to both estimated and observed ridership. Okay, so here's just a little bit about how this looks, and you can see the ridership table over on the right. So whenever you generate this, basically it will generate a report that looks like this. And this is a stop level report where the stop name is here, the route pattern, the direct boardings, transfer and total boardings, and then you can render that over in the map. So by default, if you select a map rendering, it will create that rendering in the T-Best main map. Now, you also have the ability to export. Obviously, you can export to Excel for the report itself, but also exactly the map that you create here can be exported to ArcGIS Online or Mobile Geodatabase. So again, going back to our ArcGIS Online export, whatever map you create, so we've created lots of different maps, right? And at any point we could, if we say, well, I like this map, I want to publish this, or I want to give it to someone, or I want to put it on online and use it in ArcGIS Pro, you can just export it to online, and then it's available to you to do the publishing or working with it. So just remember that at any point you can export to ArcGIS Online. It takes the data that's currently there, all the map rendering and symbols, and pushes it to online for you to work with online. Also remember it's disconnected, right? So it's no longer connected to the T-Best. It's just an export at that point. All right. All right, just another rendering. This is observed ridership reporting, and this is at the route level. So what you see is that you have the fall 2024 Gatorville scenario. You have total boardings here, total alightings. So this is your boardings and alightings that would come from your APC data. And then the map that is generated from that is your actual ridership map, right? So it's no longer a map of just to what TBEST would estimate. This is the actual ridership data that you could export out, obviously, into ArcGIS Online, use that and publish it. So it's a great way to visualize your data that you have and utilize it inside of TBEST, your actual observed ridership. Okay, so this is the segment bandwidth. So this is the same Gatorville using the observed ridership data, but this is at the segment level. So it pushes the stop level ridership onto the segments. So you can see where you have on a segment level, the ridership is higher. So basically the darker the color and wider the width of the segment, the more ridership that's on it. Okay, and this is the just another export into Excel as an example. And then we also have a route headway summary. So the route headway report provides an interactive headway summary for all routes by direction and by TBEST time period, including weekday. It integrates the scenario map to display route headways on each route. And then within the report, you select the time period header to change the headway map display for the time period. And when you close the headway report, it will remove the headway layer from the map. And that goes for the interactive reporting as well. So it will generate the report. It will produce both a report and the map. And when you close the report, it will also remove the information from the map, in this case, the headway. All right, so it looks something like this, where if you generate the headway report, it will give you the route name and then the direction description, and then the headway for all of your routes, right, by direction. So what's kind of unique about this is that you can see that we have weekday here as well, Saturday and Sunday in each of our peak periods. And we have the weekday column selected. So whenever we click on the headers, it will change the map itself to show the headways for that period. So you can see that the map is showing the weekday headway map, but we can switch that to, in this case, Saturday. And now the map looks different because the Saturday headways are different. And basically your service is very different between weekday and Saturday, at least in this case. All right, so just clicking the headers of the headway report will give you a change in your map. So you can kind of see how this, in terms of, even if you're doing this for a TDP or service reporting, you can very easily show, here is our service on the weekday, here is on Saturday and on Sunday in a map format, right? Without doing really much of anything, just creating this report. You have the report and the map to go with it. Okay, so let's just run through some of these interactive reporting that we have for both observed ridership and the headway report. Okay, so I am on 5.2 interactive performance reporting. The exercise is interactive report generation, observed ridership. It says, if not already open the fall 2024 network scenario. So I will do that. I'll just right click on fall 2024 and open the scenario in the network editor. From the reports menu drop down on the TBEST main toolbar, select the route performance option. So under reports, I'm going to select route performance. Okay. And by default, weekday, time period, and estimated ridership type will be selected, which they are. In the ridership type drop-down list, select observed. So remember that we have the observed ridership embedded for the Gatorville Fall 2024 scenario. And then we're going, in our map rendering, we'll select stop ridership boardings. And the routes to summarize are all routes, and we'll just use no grouping. If we wanted to group by a route name, we can certainly do that, but this will provide us the report by direction. So we just click apply. Okay, so it gives us our report, and this is we basically looked at this report already that was in the slides, but we have our routes. So Route 1 eastbound and westbound, total boardings for each direction, the total lightings, and this is for the weekday. The revenue service trips, miles and hours, and the boardings per service mile, hour, and trip, and then average boardings per stop visit. So it's a great way to see how your performance is stacking up using TBEST. So on average, you're at 9.9 boardings per service trip, 1.9 per service mile, and your total revenue hours, et cetera. So just a great way to see a roll up. Plus, you have your map that has your actual data in it. And of course, we can, interact with this a little bit. If I want to use the identify, I can certainly click on one of these, the observed boardings for this stop at 1484, Varsity House Apartments, observed boardings and alightings. Okay, so when we close this report, what we'll note is that it will remove the rendering, the map rendering as well. So they're tied together. So as soon as you close that, it goes away. The map rendering goes away, but of course you can just generate it at any time. Okay. So actually I didn't need to close it, so I'll just regenerate it. And we want to export this to ArcGIS Online. So I'm just going to go ahead and minimize the report for now, just to remove it out of the way, and export map data. And we're going to select ArcGIS Online. So just in case you missed that, using the export map data button on the map toolbar, ArcGIS Online is the export option. And notice that the defaults come up again, TBEST Transit Gatorville. Observed ridership map. So it knew that we were using the observed ridership and it put that description in, putting it in the base folder as a feature layer. And we're going to just call it fall 2024 ridership. All right, and that's it. Okay, so it completed successfully. So I'll go ahead and say okay and cancel this. And then I'll just bring over the map. So again, our map and data that came over, you can see our fall 2024 ridership, observed boardings are here, and we're able to see the layers here. If we want to turn off layers, we can here. And of course, you can interact with this. Just one thing you do is show the table. So if we show the table, we can see the stop name, description, observed boardings and the lightings. All that table information is in here as well in ArcGIS Online. Okay, great. So we created a map and an R line. So we'll go ahead and leave the site. Okay, so let's move on to our next one. Okay, so we'll close the performance reporting. And this time we're going to look at our estimated ridership. So we're going to close the scenario. And I need to close the report. So remember if you minimize the report, you need to maximize it or bring it back up and then close it, and that will allow you to move forward. And so we're going to close this scenario and then open the spring 2025 scenario and go to reports and route performance. And we're going to perform a very similar setup here. We're going to use our weekday time period and estimated ridership type. And this time we're going to select the segment bandwidth boardings option. And we're going to select all routes. And this time we're going to group by just route name. And just say apply. So this time in our map, we have bandwidths, and you can see our route P8 issue. Oh, no, this is spring 2025. So yeah. So our direct boardings, transfer boardings, total boardings. So all of this is what T-Best estimated for spring 2025. And then all of the same types of reporting for performance and service are here as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and close that report. Clears off the map. Okay, I'm in exercise part 3, use the route headway summary to evaluate route service. So again, in spring 2025, under the reports menu, we're going to select the route headway summary. So we have our headway report that also renders to the map as well. So this time, instead of rendering ridership, we're rendering service. So essentially, these are the routes where we have the most service. And then outlying, we have basically higher headways. So the smaller the headway, the darker the and wider the segment. The higher the headway, the higher, the smaller and lighter the bandwidth. All right, so just to illustrate how we would then generate we have a weekday map here. If we wanted to look at Saturday, we click the header and click at Sunday. So you can see how the service drastically changes between, this is your weekday, Saturday, and Sunday. Again, for AM peak, it looks like this, off peak, PM peak, night, and then weekday again. So again, any one of these you can export out. You just copy to the clipboard as well, the map, and you paste it directly into a report if you need to. All that's available to you. All right, so that's it.